Welcome to this journey of transformation. Rocket in today's video, we're diving into the timeless lessons of Brian Tracy's No Excuses. The Power of Self-Discipline. This book is not just about success, it's about unlocking your true potential, breaking free from excuses, and building the discipline that shapes extraordinary lives. So, if you're ready to change the way you think, act, and achieve, stay with me till the end, because this might just be the turning point you've been waiting for. Chapter 1: Self-Discipline and Success. The very first chapter of this book opens with a powerful truth. Self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Brian Tracy explains that every successful person you see in business, sports, or life has one common quality: they practice discipline consistently. Talent, luck, or intelligence might help for a while, but without self-control and focus, success cannot be sustained. He emphasizes that life offers two pains: the pain of discipline, waking up early, studying, working hard, controlling habits; the pain of regret, missing opportunities, failing to achieve potential, looking back and wishing you had tried harder. The first pain is temporary, but the second pain lasts forever. This is why choosing discipline daily is the key to success. Another strong idea from this chapter is that success is not a one-time achievement, it is a habit. When you repeat disciplined actions over time, you build a momentum that pulls you towards your goals automatically. Brian Tracy also stresses that self-discipline is not something you're born with, it is a skill, like a muscle. The more you practice it in small tasks, like exercising, saving money, finishing work on time, the stronger it becomes, and soon it starts showing results in every part of your life. Key takeaway: discipline is not punishment, it is the highest form of self-respect. By choosing discipline, you choose growth, confidence, and long-term success. Question for the audience: if self-discipline is the foundation of success, then what about character? Can discipline also shape who we truly are inside? Let's explore this in the next chapter: Self-Discipline and Character. Studio Microphone, Chapter 2: Self-Discipline and Character. In the second chapter, Brian Tracy explains that character is the foundation of trust, respect, and long-term success. While talent and hard work can open doors, it is your character that keeps those doors open. He begins with a powerful statement: your character is the sum of all your habits and choices. And the only way to build a strong character is through self-discipline. Character means doing the right thing, even when nobody is watching. It's about honesty, integrity, and keeping promises. But here's the hard truth: living with character isn't always easy. It often requires sacrifice, courage, and self-control. And that's exactly why discipline plays such a big role. Tracy reminds us that every single day, we face choices, small ones and big ones. Do we take the easy shortcut, or do we stick to the harder but honest path? Do we keep our word, even when it's inconvenient, or do we break it for comfort? Every choice we make shapes our character. He also highlights an important idea: reputation is what people think of you, but character is who you truly are. Reputation can change quickly, but character is built slowly, through consistent actions, decisions, and discipline. A disciplined person doesn't allow emotions or temptations to dictate their actions. Instead, they choose according to their values. For example, in business, people prefer to work with someone they trust, even more than someone who is extremely talented.
Why?
Because talent without character is dangerous, but character with discipline creates reliability. Tracy also explains that leaders with strong character become role models. People naturally follow them because they know these leaders won't compromise on truth, fairness, or responsibility. And that is what makes character the ultimate power of influence. White heavy check mark. Key takeaway: self-discipline is not just about achieving goals, it's about shaping who you are as a person. Every disciplined decision strengthens your character, and your character becomes your greatest asset in life. Question for the audience: if discipline builds character, what about responsibility? How can taking full responsibility for your life transform everything: your work, your relationships, and your future? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explores in Chapter 3, Self-Discipline and Responsibility. Studio Microphone, Chapter 3, Self-Discipline and Responsibility. In this chapter, Brian Tracy reveals one of the most powerful truths of success: the moment you accept complete responsibility for your life, your future truly begins. He explains that many people blame others, their parents, their boss, the economy, or even luck, for their problems. But blaming never changes anything. In fact, it keeps you stuck. On the other hand, when you say to yourself, "I am responsible for my choices, my actions, and my results," you immediately gain power and control. Responsibility means refusing to make excuses. It means recognizing that no matter what happens, you always have the ability to respond with discipline, focus, and action. That's why the word responsibility can be broken into response plus ability. It's your ability to respond effectively. Tracy also emphasizes that leaders and successful people stand out because they never shift blame. Instead, they take ownership. If something goes wrong, they learn from it, fix it, and move forward stronger. This attitude not only earns respect from others but also builds confidence within themselves. By practicing self-discipline in accepting responsibility, you remove the victim mindset from your life. You stop waiting for luck or miracles, and instead, you start creating your own success, step by step. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Taking full responsibility gives you freedom. Freedom from excuses, freedom from blaming, and freedom to shape your own destiny. Question for the audience. If responsibility gives us control over our lives, then how do we use discipline to actually set clear goals and achieve them step by step? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explains in Studio Microphone, Chapter 4, Self-Discipline and Goals. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that successful people are intensely goal-oriented. They know exactly what they want, and they discipline themselves to achieve it step by step. Most people drift through life without clear direction. They hope things will just work out. But Tracy reminds us, clarity is power. When you know where you're going, discipline becomes the vehicle that takes you there. He introduces a simple but powerful idea. Write your goals down. Only 3% of adults actually do this, yet those people accomplish far more than the rest. Writing goals forces you to think clearly, and it programs your subconscious mind to work toward them. Tracy suggests a 7-step formula for goal achievement. 1. Decide exactly what you want. 2. Write it down clearly. 3. Set a deadline. 4. Make a list of everything you must do. 5. Organize the list into a plan. 6. Take action immediately. 7. Do something every single day that moves you closer to your goal. Discipline comes into play at every stage, especially in taking daily action. Even small, consistent steps compound into big results. Tracy says, a goal without a plan is just a wish, but a goal with self-discipline becomes inevitable success. Week 11. Upgrade sleep and recovery. Sleep is the foundation of energy. Fix a bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends. No phone/laptop at least 30 minutes before sleep. Create a bedtime ritual, dim lights, journal, gratitude, deep breathing. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Remember, muscles grow, brain repairs, and creativity sparks during sleep, not while working. Week 12. Mental wellness and energy detox. Your mental energy is as important as your physical energy. Practice 10 minutes of meditation or deep breathing daily. Do a digital detox, 1 full day without social media. Write in a gratitude journal every night. Avoid energy drainers, gossip, toxic people, endless scrolling. As your body becomes lighter and your mind calmer, you will feel a new level of control over your life. Closing thought. Health is not a short-term project, it's a lifelong investment. When your body feels strong and your mind feels clear, every other part of your life improves automatically. Your work, your relationships, and your confidence. Energy is the real currency of success. Protect it, build it, and use it wisely. Chapter 4. Money and Career Growth. Money is not just about luxury, it is about freedom. Freedom to choose how you live, where you live, and what you do with your time. Sadly, most people spend their entire lives working for money instead of learning how to make money work for them. This month is about becoming financially aware and career smart. If you take charge of your money and skills today, you will thank yourself for decades to come. Week 13. Know your numbers. The first rule of money is awareness. Write down your monthly income, expenses, and savings. Track your spending for 7 days. You'll be surprised how much leaks away on small things. Learn the 50/30/20 rule. 50% needs, rent, food, bills. 30% wants, entertainment, lifestyle. 20% savings and investments. Money grows when you manage it consciously, not emotionally. Week 14. Build valuable skills. Your career and income depend on the value you bring to others. Identify one high-income skill you want to learn. Examples: coding, design, sales, digital marketing, content creation, copywriting. Dedicate 30 to 60 minutes daily to learning it. Take small projects, internships, or freelancing gigs to practice. Remember, jobs may end, but skills stay with you forever. Week 15. Network and brand yourself. Opportunities don't always come from hard work, they come from people. Update your LinkedIn, resume, or portfolio. Reach out to at least 2 people in your field every week. Share your work online, even if it's small. Build a personal brand. Let people know what you stand for. Your network is your net worth. The stronger your connections, the bigger your opportunities. Week 16. Side hustle and investments. One income is never enough. Wealth is built by creating multiple streams. Brainstorm a side hustle: freelancing, online store, digital products, or tutoring. Start small, test, learn, and improve. Begin investing, even with a small amount. Mutual funds, index funds, or savings plans. Choose what's safe for you. Money is not just about earning, it's about multiplying. Closing thought. This month, you've taken the first steps towards financial independence. You now know where your money goes, how to grow your skills, and how to create multiple income streams. Remember, career growth and money mastery are not about luck, but about consistent learning and smart decisions. If you can control your money, you can control your future. Chapter 5. Relationships and communication. You can be rich, successful, and even disciplined, but without good relationships, life feels empty. Happiness is multiplied when shared, and pain is divided when supported. The truth is, your success in life depends not only on what you know but also on how well you connect with people. This month is about strengthening your emotional intelligence, communication skills, and social circle. Because the right relationships can push you forward, while the wrong ones can hold you back for years. Week 17. Audit your circle. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. Do they inspire you or drain you? Identify toxic connections, those who bring negativity, gossip, or jealousy. Limit your time with them. Make space for growth-oriented people who support your vision. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Week 18. Practice empathy. Strong relationships are built on understanding, not just speaking. Practice active listening. Don't interrupt. Repeat back what you understood. Try to see situations from others' perspectives. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I were in their place? Keep a journal. Write one situation daily where you responded with empathy instead of judgment. Empathy makes you not only a better friend but also a better leader. Week 19. Master communication skills. Practice public speaking. Talk in front of a mirror or record yourself. Improve your body language. Stand tall, make eye contact, smile often. Give genuine compliments and express gratitude openly. Learn the art of storytelling. Stories connect more deeply than facts. Communication is not about sounding smart, it's about making others feel valued. Week 20. Strengthen bonds. Call or meet one family member/friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Host a small gathering, dinner, or online meetup. Appreciate the people who matter. Write thank you notes or small letters. Build trust by being consistent. Do what you say what you mean. Relationships grow with time and effort. Plant the seeds today, and they will support you for a lifetime. Closing thought. At the end of this month, you will realize that true wealth is not in the bank but in the people who stand beside you. Good relationships bring joy, peace, and meaning. When you learn to communicate well, You stop living in isolation and start building a network of love and support. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Goals give you direction, but discipline is the engine that drives you forward. Without goals, discipline has no target. Without discipline, goals remain only dreams. Together, they create unstoppable momentum. Question for the audience. But here's something deeper to think about. If discipline helps us set and achieve goals, then how can it push us toward personal excellence in everything we do? That's what Brian Tracy explores in Chapter 5, Self-Discipline and Personal Excellence. Studio Microphone, Chapter 5, Self-Discipline and Personal Excellence. Brian Tracy begins this chapter with a bold statement: excellence should be your personal standard. Not average, not just enough, but excellence in everything you do. He explains that the world rewards excellence. People who perform at the top 10% of their field earn more, are respected more, and create more opportunities for themselves. The good news: almost anyone can reach the top if they commit to continuous improvement through self-discipline. Excellence doesn't happen overnight. It requires small, consistent efforts, studying a little more, practicing a little longer, improving one skill at a time. Discipline is what makes you keep learning, keep improving, and keep pushing yourself beyond comfort. Tracy also introduces the idea of the law of accumulation. Every small effort, every bit of discipline you practice, adds up. Just like drops of water fill a bucket, small improvements lead to mastery over time. Another important point is the law of forced efficiency. It says, there is never enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do the most important things. Discipline in focusing on high-value tasks, instead of wasting time, is what creates excellence. In simple words, self-discipline transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. When you commit to being excellent, you rise above the crowd, and success becomes a natural byproduct. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Excellence is not about being perfect. It's about making the disciplined choice to be better today than you were yesterday. And over time, this commitment makes you unstoppable. Question for the audience. But here's something important. While striving for excellence, we often face fear, doubt, and uncertainty. So, how can self-discipline give us the courage to act, even when we're afraid? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explains in Studio Microphone, Chapter 6, Self-Discipline and Courage. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that courage is not the absence of fear, it's the mastery of fear. And the tool that helps us master fear is self-discipline. Every person feels fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of loss, even fear of success. The difference between successful people and everyone else is not that they don't feel fear, it's that they take action in spite of it. Tracy highlights that most fears are psychological. They exist only in our imagination, not in reality. And the more we avoid them, the bigger they grow. The only way to shrink fear is to confront it with disciplined action. He introduces the powerful rule: do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. Each time you face your fear, you gain confidence and courage. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you practice courage, the stronger it becomes. Self-discipline is what pushes you to make that difficult phone call, speak up in a meeting, start that business, or take a step toward your dream even when you feel uncertain. Over time, your courage builds momentum, and what once scared you becomes normal. Tracy also emphasizes the importance of integrity in courage. Real courage means standing up for what is right, even when it's unpopular or difficult. It means living according to your values, not just your convenience. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Courage is not about being fearless, it's about being disciplined enough to act while you are afraid. Every time you face fear with discipline, you grow stronger, braver, and closer to success. Question for the audience. But here's something even more critical. Courage gets you started, but what keeps you going when things get tough? How do you stay disciplined when obstacles, failures, and setbacks test your patience? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explores in Studio Microphone, Chapter 7, Self-Discipline and Persistence. In this chapter, Brian Tracy reveals one of the most important secrets of success. Persistence is the ultimate test of self-discipline. He explains that almost everyone starts with excitement, whether it's a new goal, a new project, or a new dream. But very few continue when difficulties arise. The difference between winners and quitters is simple. Winners keep going, no matter how tough it gets. Tracy says persistence is like a muscle. Every time you push yourself to continue despite obstacles, you make that muscle stronger. And over time, it becomes part of your character. One powerful point he makes is this: temporary failure is normal. In fact, it's part of the journey. Every great success story is built on challenges, mistakes, and setbacks. The people who finally succeed are not the ones who never failed, they're the ones who refuse to give up. He also introduces the idea of single-mindedness. It means once you decide on a goal, you stay focused on it with discipline until it's achieved. You don't keep changing direction, you don't lose sight of the finish line. That focused persistence is what eventually guarantees success. Persistence also builds reputation. When others see that you don't quit easily, they trust you more, they respect you more, and opportunities naturally come your way. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Persistence is discipline in action. Success is not about never falling, it's about getting back up every single time. The more persistent you are, the more unstoppable you become. Question for the audience. But here's something to think about. Persistence helps us overcome obstacles in life, but what about in the workplace? How does self-discipline shape our success in our careers and professional growth? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explores in Studio Microphone, Chapter 8, Self-Discipline and Work. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that self-discipline is the master key to success in your career. Talent and intelligence matter, but what really determines how far you go at work is your ability to stay focused, manage time, and consistently deliver results. He points out that many people waste hours in the workplace, chatting, browsing, or doing low-value tasks, while disciplined workers concentrate on what truly matters. And here's the difference. Those who discipline themselves to work on high-priority tasks move ahead faster, earn more, and gain more respect. Tracy introduces the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your tasks. Self-discipline means identifying those few important tasks and working on them first, before distractions steal your time. He also stresses the importance of starting and finishing your work without delay. Procrastination is the enemy of success, and the discipline to begin immediately gives you an advantage over almost everyone else. Another key idea is continuous learning. Disciplined professionals don't just do their jobs, they improve themselves. They read, study, and upgrade their skills so they stay valuable in a fast-changing world. Tracy reminds us, your work is your reputation. Every task you complete with discipline builds your personal brand. People notice, opportunities open, and over time, your career success becomes inevitable. White heavy check mark key takeaway. In the workplace, self-discipline means focusing on high-value tasks, avoiding procrastination, and continuously improving yourself. That's how you stand out and create long-term career success. Question for the audience. But here's something to think about. Discipline makes you effective in your work, but what if you want to inspire and influence others as a leader? How does self-discipline shape true leadership? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explores in Studio Microphone, Chapter 9, Self-Discipline and Leadership. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that leadership is not about position or power, it's about character and example. And the foundation of strong leadership is always self-discipline. He says people naturally follow leaders they trust. Trust comes from consistency, doing what you say, keeping promises, and showing discipline in both words and actions. Without discipline, even the most talented leader will eventually lose respect. One of the most important principles Tracy highlights is, leaders go first. They don't just tell others what to do, they show it by example. If a leader works hard, stays focused, and takes responsibility, the team will mirror that behavior. Discipline at the top creates discipline throughout the group. He also emphasizes that great leaders practice self-control. They manage their emotions, especially under pressure. Instead of reacting with anger, fear, or stress, disciplined leaders respond calmly and wisely, earning even more trust and loyalty. Another powerful point is that leaders think long-term. They are disciplined enough to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term success, guiding their team or organization toward a bigger vision. In short, leadership is not about giving orders, It's about setting the standard, inspiring others, and earning respect through disciplined action. White heavy check mark key takeaway. The best leaders are those who discipline themselves first. Their integrity, self-control, and consistency inspire others to follow them willingly. Question for the audience. But here's something to reflect on. Leadership is crucial, but what happens when you're running a business or building your career as an entrepreneur? How does discipline ensure growth and long-term success in business? That's exactly what Brian Tracy uncovers in Studio Microphone, Chapter 10, Self-Discipline and Business. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that business success is not about luck or shortcuts, it's about discipline, consistency, and creating real value. He says the primary purpose of any business is simple: to attract and keep customers. And this requires discipline at every level. Discipline in planning, delivering quality, managing money, and continuously improving. Tracy emphasizes that in business, average is not enough. If you only do what others are doing, you'll never stand out. Discipline means pushing yourself to deliver better service, better products, and better solutions than your competitors. That's how you build loyalty and long-term success. Another key point is financial discipline. Many businesses fail not because of lack of ideas, but because of poor money management. Controlling costs, reinvesting wisely, and avoiding unnecessary risks require strict self-discipline. Tracy also stresses the importance of persistence in business. Markets change, customers change, and setbacks happen, but disciplined entrepreneurs don't give up. They adapt, innovate, and keep moving forward. At its core, business is about trust. And trust is earned when customers, employees, and partners see that you are reliable, consistent, and disciplined in everything you do. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Business success is built on discipline. The discipline to deliver quality, manage resources wisely, and stay committed to improvement every single day. Question for the audience. But here's something to think about. Business discipline is important, but what about sales, the lifeblood of every business? How does self-discipline turn you into a top performer in selling? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explores in Chapter 11, Self-Discipline and Sales. In this chapter, Brian Tracy highlights that sales is the lifeblood of every business, and success in sales depends more on discipline than on charm or luck. He explains that the top 20% of salespeople earn 80% of the income, and what sets them apart is not magic, it's their daily discipline. They consistently prospect for new clients, follow up with leads, ask for referrals, and keep improving their skills. Tracy stresses the importance of persistence in sales. Most sales don't happen on the first call. It often takes several contacts before a customer says, yes. The disciplined salesperson doesn't quit after rejection. Instead, they see every no as a step closer to a yes. He also points out that preparation is a form of discipline. The best salespeople study their products, understand their customers' needs, and practice their presentations. This discipline builds confidence, and confidence builds trust. Another key idea is time discipline. Many salespeople waste hours waiting, chatting, or doing low-value activities. The best ones use their time effectively, focusing on selling and building relationships that actually generate results. Tracy's message is clear. Sales is not about luck. It's about consistent, disciplined effort applied over time. White heavy check mark key takeaway. In sales, discipline is everything. Discipline to prospect daily, follow up relentlessly, and improve continuously. The more disciplined you are, the more successful you will become. Question for the audience. But here's something deeper. Sales brings in money, but how do you manage that money with discipline so it grows instead of disappearing? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explains in Studio Microphone, Chapter 12, Self-Discipline and Money. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that financial success is not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep and grow. And the foundation of wealth is always financial discipline. He points out that many people, no matter how much they earn, struggle financially because they lack the discipline to save and invest. On the other hand, people with modest incomes can build wealth if they consistently manage money wisely. Tracy introduces a simple but powerful rule: save at least 10% of your income, no matter what. This habit, practiced with discipline, creates financial security and eventually financial freedom. He also warns against debt, especially consumer debt. Credit cards, loans, and unnecessary spending trap people in financial stress. Self-discipline means living below your means, delaying gratification, and avoiding expenses that don't add value to your future. Another key point is continuous financial education. Disciplined people read, learn, and improve their understanding of money, investing, budgeting, and wealth building. The more you learn, the smarter your financial decisions become. Tracy's message is clear. It's not luck, it's discipline. Building wealth is a result of small, consistent financial habits repeated over time. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Financial independence is not a dream. It's the result of disciplined saving, smart investing, and controlled spending. Question for the audience. But here's the next big question. Once you build money discipline, how can you apply the same principle to achieve personal effectiveness and peak performance in all areas of life? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explores in Studio Microphone, Chapter 13, Self-Discipline and Personal Effectiveness. In this chapter, Brian Tracy explains that your effectiveness, how much you get done in a given time, determines your success in life. And the secret to high effectiveness is not working harder, but working more disciplined. He emphasizes the power of clear goals. Without goals, even the hardest work can feel directionless. Discipline means writing down your goals, breaking them into actionable steps, and working on them every single day. Tracy also highlights prioritization. He brings back the 80-20 rule, reminding us that 20% of your activities create 80% of your results. Disciplined people identify their most important tasks and start there, instead of getting lost in low-value busywork. Another key tool he shares is time blocking. Highly effective people discipline themselves to plan their days in advance, dedicating chunks of time to their most important tasks, and protecting that time from distractions. Tracy also stresses energy management. Effectiveness isn't just about time, but about using your best hours for your best work. Disciplined people know when they are most alert and focus on high-value work during those periods. Ultimately, self-discipline transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. When you combine goals, priorities, and focused action, your productivity and your success skyrockets. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Personal effectiveness is not luck. It's the result of discipline in setting goals, prioritizing tasks, and using your time wisely every single day. Question for the audience. But here's something to think about. Personal effectiveness makes you productive, but what about your happiness? How does self-discipline help you create true joy and peace in life, beyond just achievements? That's exactly what Brian Tracy explains in Studio Microphone, Chapter 14, Self-Discipline and Happiness. In this chapter, Brian Tracy makes a powerful point. The ultimate goal of life is happiness, and happiness is not something you wait for, it's something you create through self-discipline. He explains that many people chase short-term pleasure, like comfort, entertainment, or spending money, but these often lead to stress, regret, or emptiness. True happiness, Tracy says, comes from living a life of purpose, responsibility, and self-control. One of his key insights is, happiness comes from progress. When you discipline yourself to set goals and achieve them step by step, you feel a deep sense of satisfaction that no temporary pleasure can replace. Another major source of happiness is good relationships. Tracy emphasizes that discipline plays a role here too. Discipline to be kind, to listen, to forgive, and to invest time in people who matter most. He also notes that happiness is linked to health and peace of mind. The discipline to eat well, exercise, manage stress, and handle money wisely creates balance in life, and that balance is what brings lasting joy. In short, happiness isn't accidental. It is the result of living with clarity, purpose, and disciplined actions that align with your values. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Real happiness doesn't come from short-term pleasures. It comes from disciplined living, progress toward goals, healthy relationships, and peace of mind. Question for the audience. But here's the next big thought. Happiness is essential, but how do you push yourself to reach greatness in life, beyond average success? That's exactly what Brian Tracy uncovers in Studio Microphone, Chapter 15, Self-Discipline and Personal Greatness. In this final chapter, Brian Tracy reminds us that the ultimate purpose of self-discipline is not just success, money, or recognition, it is to achieve personal greatness. He explains that every person has within them the potential for greatness, but only a few ever realize it.
Why?
Because greatness requires sacrifice, consistency, and the discipline to keep going long after others have quit. Tracy emphasizes that greatness is not one big act, it's the result of small disciplined actions repeated daily. The books you read, the habits you build, the promises you keep, and the goals you pursue all shape the person you become. He also points out that greatness is deeply connected to service. Truly great people don't just focus on themselves, they discipline their lives in a way that makes a positive difference in the lives of others. Another powerful point is about courage. Discipline gives you the strength to do what's right, even when it's difficult, unpopular, or uncomfortable. And that courage, over time, defines your character. Tracy's message is clear. You were born with unlimited potential. Discipline is the bridge that takes you from who you are today to the great person you are meant to become. White heavy check mark key takeaway. Personal greatness is not an accident. It is the result of disciplined habits, consistent effort, and the courage to pursue your highest potential. Question for the audience. Now that we've completed the journey of this book, here's something to reflect on. What is the one area of your life where applying self-discipline today could completely transform your future? Remember this, excuses will always be there, but opportunities won't. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. So, start today, apply just one principle, and watch how it changes your life. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful lessons. And in the comments below, tell me, which area of your life will you apply self-discipline to first? Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep moving toward greatness.